Hey y'all, I just got back from just a really amazing community gathering and I'm feeling energized. I mean, I've been out all day, spent time with family, and I feel like my body is a little tired, but my spirit and my mind is just buzzing. I'm so grateful. How are you doing? I hope you're treating yourself well and having a lot of grace for yourself. I hope that you are having a wonderful Aries new moon, whatever that looks like for you. New moon, new beginnings. Aries is also new beginnings and initiating things, which requires making choices, which requires judgment. No, you can say discernment, you can say whatever you like, if judgment is not a good word for you. But making decision making is a part of it. I will swaddle myself in rest. I will gather myself in rest. And sometimes we have to move, but it doesn't mean that we have to move in ways that are not regenerative to us. So if you see this and you're like, I can't rest right now. Like I've been resting for the winter and it's time for action. Rest here doesn't necessarily always mean taking a nap. It could be, but it can also be making sure that you're hydrated as you're moving. Like having your favorite drink on hand as you're going about your day, making sure that you are not rushing, that you are able to go about your business, go about your connecting with people and doing the things in a way that's not drawing from you. Perfectionism is not human. To be human is to rest. I will open my heart to rest. I want to zero in on this perfectionism is not human. As we're starting new things and new ways of looking at the world are coming forward, maybe some new relationships, some people showing up in your life, and maybe you're not quite sure how to interact with them in the right ways. And that's great. That's perfect. The things that we call mistakes it's actually learning. It's actually how we learn. And if we're not making mistakes, we're not learning, right? I am enough now, accepting, like giving ourselves grace, giving other people grace. Honestly, like those are really the same thing. As you learn to give others more grace, you'll usually give yourself more grace. As you learn to give yourself more grace, you'll usually learn to give others grace. So if you're working on one, you're working on both. But this came up in the car earlier. One of my daughters said, she basically asked, I don't remember, I'm just paraphrasing her, but she basically asked if perfect is something that's real. And me and my husband were both like, no, at the same time. Just the idea of perfection can hold us back. The river dances to the sea. Flow state. Trusting in the adventure. And the number is 3. Okay. This one's really speaking to me. All right. So when you're taking on more, and maybe you're thinking about these things that you would like to take on for this year or just this next evolution of yourself. You're feeling capable, you're feeling strong, you're feeling ready, but still, maybe it's the number of things or the seriousness of the things or the amount of things that you feel like you should be tapped into right now or that you want to be tapped into right now and be a part of moving forward. And that is causing you to feel maybe a little bit wary. Um, Maybe you feel like this could be a sign of the amount of things that you want to be involved with is a sign that you're falling back into old patterns. I don't really think that's the case. I think what's happening is that you are able to trust in the adventure and move into that flow state. That's not to say you're perfect at it yet. It just means to say you're actively practicing this as an ability of yours. So if I take on more things, like as an example for myself, if I'm putting on more events and previously putting on an event meant that I had to have like this whole planned out Google document with an agenda down to the minute, and I was going to have scripted out absolutely everything that I was going to say. I have to send out a bunch of emails, send out a bunch of reminders to try to get people to go there. I have to go advertise on this website and that website and whatever. Well, what if instead I even if I plan and put on a few more events than I did last year because I'm feeling that, what if I did less for them? What if I had sort of a rough idea of what the event was going to be like and I didn't spend all that time mapping out every last detail because it always seems to change up anyway once you get there with the people and the energy. And I sent out a couple of invitations, maybe put it on social media, and I just sort of went with the flow of things on the day of. Well, maybe initially, that first couple of events, it would be an adjustment to get myself into the ability of moving with the adventure of throwing an event without all of that rigid structure and documentation and all of it. And this is really just an example, but since I can speak on this one right now, it's actually, even if I'm putting on more events, it's less work because I'm not forcing myself to do all these things that take from me. And I'm still able to have these events, and, people show up if they want to. And I mean, they're self selecting. If it's something that they really want to go to, as long as I'm letting people know it's happening, if it's a place they want to be, they'll be there. If it's the place they're supposed to be, they'll be there. So, as far as the endless list of marketing tasks goes for the events, like, it's just not needed. And so, anyway, take my long winded example and replace it with something that is more relevant to you in the moment that you find yourself in. It sounds paradoxical, but sometimes doing more can actually feel like doing less. Yang. Yeah. So it's just so funny. It really is a paradox, like yin yang, okay, solar, lunar, masculine, feminine, whatever. And I'm not talking about gender roles. It's just a polarity. Card number one, yang reversed. Doing more is doing less. Just cut out those parts that you don't want to do. If you have to, it's really good practice if you are wanting to learn how to collaborate better with people. to ask them to do the things that they're good at and you're not. This is one. Round and round. 25. Yeah, we had it reversed. Um, we're not repeating cycles. There's something that you've broken out of. That feels really good. This when I'm talking about the rigid ways that we do used to do things and sort of like that overwhelm that we feel with the idea of us having to do more things, there are plenty of people who feel the same. Like they don't want to do all these pointless rituals. And we can have differentiation in what we think is pointless. It's totally fine. We don't have to all agree on it. But if you can show up to more, but just do less of the rigid preparation and the things that are really not required. They're just sort of checking boxes. It's really going to have this effect where you break out of cycles because you're able to show up to more of the things that you feel called to. And I mean, regeneration. Regeneration. Let's read 46. Okay. Yeah, here we have rebirth, second chances, and new opportunities. This is going to be related to grace and new beginnings. Um, y'all already know this. Anytime there's a new beginning, there's going to be an ending. Second chances are available to you now. Whatever opportunities you thought were dead are now revived in a more authentic, stronger form. Whatever you may have perceived as a failure or loss is being replaced by something better and more powerful, growing in its place. This rebirth is assured. Step into your new life. Destiny is being fulfilled in wondrous ways. Okay, I'm going to read this part 2 protection message. Endings come in many forms, and now is the time to stop holding on to what must die, so that something better can take its place. Nature's cycles include the disease, decay, and death and regeneration. Let whatever isn't working in your life die. Don't be afraid to face the facts. There is no need to grieve or struggle. Whatever your query, let it go. You're about to be reborn. So this is definitely going with the flow state and trusting the adventure. I find some of that phrasing really interesting too. Let whatever isn't working in your life die. Don't be afraid to face the facts. Sometimes looking at what appears to be the darkness can be the thing that sets you free. Because if there's something that's like a false light, and maybe it feels good to be distracted by, to block out this darkness over here and reach toward the light. But have you ever heard that sometimes the gold is in the shadow or the gold is in the darkness? If you can sit with this, something will be unveiled to you. And that unveiling will provide much more clarity. If there is any part of you that is unsure about your direction, I would go here. I would go to the darkness, to whatever is ailing you, bothering you, whatever you are trying to not see right now. There is a message there for you. I'm going to pull, so these I grabbed. These are some huge things. Okay, I'm just going to read them out. And I'm not going to provide any commentary except for on this first one. Step forward or aside with adaptability, agility, and stamina for the long haul, and learn to find joy in the struggle itself rather than form the expectation of an imagined prize at the end. So I'm going to contrast this with this right here, with this said about struggle. There is no need to struggle or grieve. And now keep in mind that this deck is from a New Age publisher. And there is a lot of wisdom found in New Age, but it is ultimately, a lot of it is enmeshed in whiteness, which is effectively a flattened anti-life culture. Learning to find joy in the struggle itself and separating yourself from the outcome. There is a lot here to work with that will actually pull us out of this mentality of avoiding struggle and avoiding grief, because the acceptance of the grief and the moving through it and the acceptance of the struggle. If our goal is liberation, we are required to struggle. And when I say that, it doesn't mean that every day of our lives we must be suffering. If we equate struggling with suffering, that's not correct. That's not actually what it means. To struggle, suffering is a part of life, right? But if we're struggling, we're trying. We're out there moving things. We're taking action. We're connecting with the people around us. We are calling people in and calling people out and moving with the times rather than turning away from what's real. We are a part of it. If we are struggling toward liberation, regardless of whether that liberation is something that we see in our lifetimes, that is just something to consider. There is a book by Angela Davis called Freedom is a Constant Struggle. And that is where I am supposed to stop commenting on that. In your context of work, to what extent can Indigenous, Black, and people of color speak openly and critically without having to worry about negative responses and or retaliation? Let go of the flattened identity, the fantasy that you are self-transparent, objective, and coherent, that you are in complete control of who you are and who you will become. Embrace the mystery of our existence. This is a message for someone, but if you are struggling right now, I hope that you will allow yourself to reach out to someone who you trust to be a safe person to either have a conversation with or unburden yourself, to ask for advice or to hug. Whatever it is that you need. 63 sun wheels, and this is the Celtic Healing Oracle. We are going there today, y'all. All right. We talked about protection, right? Sun wheels are signs of protection, shielding warriors in battle, buried with the dead, carved on tombstones and offered at healing springs. They comfort the dead and illuminate the journey to the other world. Symbolizing the warmth and light of the sun shining on the earth and her creatures, they represent safety amid chaos, sorrow, confusion, and pain. If you chose this card, the brilliance of the sun banishes darkness and chaos and bestows comfort and security. Cultivating its brilliance within your being will bring you renewed trust and hope. There are numerous ways to bring the qualities of the sun into your daily life. You might use a sun symbol as a talisman to carry in your pocket or in your purse or bag, or wear an anklet as jewelry on a necklace or keychain. You might consider keeping a symbol of the sun in your office or work area to serve as a reminder. Meditate with the sun as it rises. Use a candle flame as a focus of meditation, or consider the starry sky as your nighttime companions. In your imagination, bring light to any darkness and confusion in your life, allowing the outer light to fill your being. Thereafter, conduct your daily activities mindful of the light and warmth of the sun. All right. Okay, how very interesting. So last night I was with my new moon circle, and one of the messages that came out was finding the dark in the light and the light in the dark. And I think that's part of what's going on here. I would say call in protection for yourself, whatever that looks like to you. This can be literal, or this can be this can be literally invoking protection. This can be, you know, utilizing salts on the body in the shower or a bath, or protective herbs. Rue, for example, is one of them. Rosemary. This can also be just keeping in mind, if you're someone who interacts with a lot of screens, just a reminder there to be to call back your power. And additionally, protect yourself in terms of who you're spending time around. Your circle is incredibly powerful. I know that you already know this, but your circle affects you more than you might like it to. But this becomes a good thing once you get a really good handle on protection and you are discerning about who you allow into your circle. Again, that judgment. Judgment is not bad, but culturally we have a perception that judgment is a bad thing. It's up to you how you utilize the gift of judgment. But allow it to be a gift. It's either telling you something about the other person or telling you something about yourself. Usually both. Let's get a closing message, please, Spirit. Thank you. 10 of Vessels, happiness. I said the 10 of Cups. I'm just going to say this. If you have listened to things like this before, what is the step beyond your comfort zone right now? Really allow yourself to take the next step in this journey, whether that is verbally invoking protection, taking that salt bath or using that salt in the shower, whether that's getting really serious about your media consumption or the people that you allow in your circle without punishing yourself just because you decide that it's not safe for someone to be around you right now. That doesn't mean that you're casting this judgment on what they're deserving of, right? You are making a decision for yourself out of love. And it doesn't require you to be cruel, just honest. If there's anything in here or something you've been thinking about that you've been pulled towards, but you haven't taken that step yet, really allow yourself to do it, because I think that you're ready. I think that you're ready to do whatever that thing is that you're kind of afraid of doing. And I think you're going to be so glad that you did it. All right. Be safe. Take care. Have a peaceful evening. I'll see you soon. Bye.